Hello, my name is Jeff Sudelman, and this is my presentation on VoltDB. Okay, so our agenda for today, we're going to talk about why you should use VoltDB, what some of the advantages are, and then we're going to run through an example. We're going to build a quick little example application in VoltDB so you see how simple and how effective VoltDB can be for you. So I'm going to start this off with a hypothetical. Here's my hypothetical application. You are an NFL coach. It's 4th and 1, and you got to decide right now whether you want to go for it or not. Okay, so let's say you want to bring some analytics into this decision. You want to go with more than your gut. You want to know what the success rate of 4th and 1 is across the entire league. Well, if you have a traditional database and application in there, that'd be pretty simple. Let's say you could ping all the 4th and 1s from, the last 10 years. You can see what happened on them. Maybe 60% were good, maybe 40% failed. And then you can use that information as you wish. Say you wanted more information. Big data is all about more. It's about volume. We want more. Let's say you wanted every 4th and 1 of all time. Okay, that's a big data file. It's probably too big of a data file for your standard Oracle MySQL database to handle. So that's too big. Let's put that in the cloud. Let's maybe put it in HDFS or some S3 storage. Well, if you want to query it from HDFS, maybe you'll have to run a MapReduce job on it. Maybe you need to run a pig script on it. And we've all seen how long those can take. By the time your MapReduce job finishes running, well, the play's already won, the play's already run, your team didn't make it, you got fired, you have to sell the house and move, and it's all because your data didn't get to you in the velocity it needed. In order to effectively harness this velocity of big data, you need a modern big data stack, and that's where VoltDB comes in. If you look here, this is pretty common to how we see things today. You have your data stored in the cloud, then you ping it with apps, send that into MySQL, and then your Apache your application pings that SQL database and provides you the data that way. But again, for instant decision making in high velocity databases and high velocity application needs, that's just not fast enough. Let's say you wanted to build an application that you're walking through a shopping district, your phone geolocates you, oh hey, you have the Starbucks app. There's a Starbucks right around the corner. Why don't we push to this phone, a quick little, hey, why don't you come to Starbucks? We'll give you 20% off your drink order. Maybe that'll do something to bring more people into your store, or whatnot, create some more value for your business. If you're running this through an HDFS and maybe a MapReduce job, maybe by the time that notification gets to your customer's phone, he's already walked away, he's already in the subway, and you lost chance at some potential profit. But as I said, VoltDB is built to get that data to its destination as quickly as possible. And we're going to show that to you today in a hypothetical app. We're going to create a VoltDB application. Luckily, building a VoltDB app is luckily somewhat standardized. Always has these 4 steps where you define your schema, you compile that into a jar file, then you deploy and query the database that you just built. So for our sample application, we're gonna tabulate the winner of American Idol. We've got 4 contestants left. Here they are. Let's see, I'm gonna give you some time right now to get your votes in, who you think's gonna win American Idol, and then in a bit here we're gonna run VoltDB as the people call in, and it's gonna tell us who won American Idol. So think about it for a second, get your votes in, and we'll get our application set up. Okay, thought about who you're going to pick? Good. So the first step with VoltDB actually is downloading it. And you do that here at VoltDB community/downloads. You're going to download the community edition for whatever system you're running. Okay, so you do that there. You register, download, and it's all free. There is our idle contestants looking good as always. So you're going to get a tarball off that installation. I already installed mine. I installed it here. VoltDB 3.2.0.1. And here we are. So within VoltDB, they actually have an examples folder already full of example applications. Let's go in there. And the application we're going to work with today is the voter app. So now we're into our voter app. Let's see what's in here. So we have our SQL DDL. Let's cat and view that DDL. Interesting. So we have a couple tables. We got the votes. We have a contestants table, their name, their number. We have the votes table, the phone number that voted, the state they're in, which contestant they voted for. We got some constraints here. Don't let phone numbers vote more than once. All pretty standard stuff. So the first step is compiling. And what we're going to do is we're going to compile this DDL that you see above. We're going to compile that into a jar file using VoltDB's compiler. Compile object. Let's call it idle.jar ddl.sql. So what this is doing is it's compiling ddl.sql into idle.jar. And it worked. Okay, so here you can see the schema that we compiled and some insert procedures that were built off that schema in the compiler. So now that we've built our jar file, we got to deploy that in a database. We got to deploy the VoltDB database, and we do that using this command. Voter.jar idle.jar. So create catalog of the jar file you just made. And that's what Volt looks like when it's running. You get that message. So now we've deployed our database. Let's start taking some phone calls. We're going to move into a new tab here. We're still in our voter folder. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the catalog, which is in this run.sh script. And this is pretty much mirroring the compile function. We've got that running. You can see it's similar to the output of the original compile. And now we're going to start the performances have finished. You've got your votes in. You know who you want to pick here. Let's start taking those votes. And we do that using that run.sh client command. Connecting to VoltDB, and we're going. So now a cool little thing that's included in here is this HTML file, livestats.html. It's included in your examples folder, and this is going to update in real time with our votes. So far, it looks like a good night for Edwina Burnham, and you can just watch the votes coming in here. It's updating in real time. The red contestant Edwina is doing well in the south. Alana Bergman doing well in the northeast and the northwest. This is going to be right down to the wire. Jesse Eichmann, Edwina Burnham, they all look like they're going to be pretty close. So while the votes come in here, another cool feature of VoltDB is the studio. So we can go to /studio, and this is basically a graphic user interface of our VoltDB that's running right now. You can see the tables that we created, that area code, state, contestants, votes, whatnot. We can query it. So let's select from contestants. And then to run a query, you click here. And you got contestant name, contestant number, and whatnot. And there you go. Let's go back into our real-time votes. They're still tabulating. People are still calling in. We have millions of votes here, all waiting to see who the American Idol is going to be. See what's going on in our script. Votes coming in, VoltDB running here. Perfect, it's done. The winner and your American Idol is Edwina Burnham. Jesse Eichmann is second. So congratulations to Edwina Burnham. She's your American Idol. You can see it right here. She is on the left right there. Let's all congratulate her. And that'll conclude it for my presentation. Thanks for listening.